power of malevolence, also known as the harbinger of disaster, suddenly appeared around the world. Numerous monsters emerged from the tower, plunging humanity into a state of hopelessness as these creatures brought mankind to the brink of extinction. Just when all seemed lost, the first generation of Awakeners appeared. Known as the Founders, they managed to suppress the monsters and eventually conquer and destroy the tower. This victory marked humanity's first triumph against the invasion from another dimension. The Founders were hailed as heroes, and their legacies are commemorated at the Mausoleum of the Founders. A century later, our protagonist, Kannagi Minato, enjoys reading about their legends, which are available in the library. He reads about the great swordsman who, with a mere wooden stick from a tree branch, managed to cut down a 10,000-strong army, and the wise wizard who could chant any magic without incantation. In the current era, these tales are regarded as mere legends or fairy tales. Despite this, Kannagi dreams of marking his name in history, just like the Founders. He knows he possesses the seal of the Chosen Ones. A crest has appeared on his body. With that crest, he pledges to make his name as an awakened, just as the Founders did. Tragically, while his classmates cheer for passing their qualification test, Kannagi remains silent, staring at his phone, which shows that he failed the hunter's qualification test. In tears, he watches everyone celebrate around him. His classmates tease him, saying they will go to the party to celebrate their admission and ask him to clean some trash. As an awakened, he knows that writing down their name guarantees passing the test, but he has failed for 3 years in a row and is mocked as a disgrace. This was his last chance to take the test, and he now believes he can never become a hunter. He picks up the trash in the classroom, sadly reflecting that, despite getting a full score on the written test and training his aura, his crest seems useless, more like a scar than a blessing. With tears in his eyes, holding a trash can, he shouts that he also wants to be like the Founders. Suddenly, a man calls his name, telling him to hurry to the school gate. Startled, he stutteringly replies that he completely forgot, sighing. He thinks that if possible, he wants to be idolized and cheered on like the Founders. At the gate, the students are talking about the man standing before them. Hisaki Kaisei, and a rank hunter, smiles apologetically to everyone for causing the commotion. Meanwhile, Hisaki's minions shout at him, saying he's late and making Hisaki wait, to which he stutteringly apologizes. Hisaki walks over to his minions, telling them to stop, and asks if he was right, that it wasn't like he was bullying the weak. One of his minions tries to explain, but Hisaki, with a creepy smile, asks if they saw the reporters behind him. His minions quickly apologize. One of the reporters then tells Hisaki that they are looking forward to the documentary, and shows Hisaki his picture, saying they would like to use it as the cover. The reporter explains that it was taken at the defeated a dragon with a single slash of his sword, and asks Hisaki what he thinks about it. Hisaki replies that it's a really good picture, but a bit embarrassing. Kannagi and Hisaki enrolled in the academy together 3 years ago. Hisaki was a genius who scored at the top of the class in every subject. During their time together, Hisaki has been bullying Kannagi. Kannagi can't believe he needs to spend an entire day with Hisaki during the documentary, making him wonder why Hisaki wants him there. The reporter asks Hisaki who the person behind him is. Hisaki replies that he wants to introduce someone from the same academy generation, but then whisperingly asks one of his minions what his name is again. The minion replies, Kannagi Minato, which Hisaki then tells the reporter. Hisaki adds that although Kannagi's grades aren't great, he always asks Hisaki for favors, leaving him with almost no time for his training. He also claims that he gives Kannagi advice and guidance, leaving Kannagi stunned and confused. Kannagi is even more surprised when Hisaki tells the reporters that Kannagi sometimes asks for financial support. Kannagi knows this is bullshit because, while Hisaki always took his money, Kannagi never asked for anything from him. He had never experienced such a pathetic year in his life before. The reporter, amazed by Hisaki's story, tells Hisaki that he is the embodiment of perfection. Hisaki then grabs Kannagi, shouting to the reporters to look forward to it because he will be an awakened who will write history. The reporter then shouts to Kannagi, saying he must be happy to receive Hisaki's kindness, and asks if he has any words for his benefactor. Kannagi is about to respond that there is no way he would do it, but Hisaki whispers to him that he failed the test and is completely worthless, so they should settle this peacefully. Hisaki squeezes Kanagi's shoulder tightly, making him remember the bullying. Smiling in fear, Kanagi tells the reporter that he is completely grateful for everything Hisaki has done for him, and that there are no words to describe his gratitude. After that, Hisaki walks forward, leaving Kanagi behind, and tells the reporter that since they don't have much time, they should move on to the next topic. Hisaki points to his trophies, leaving Kanagi shaking in fear. Kanagi hears someone behind him questioning if they really need his name in the article. But one of the reporters responds that they don't because no one would be interested anyway. Kanagi realizes that even if someone is evil, as long as they have the power to become a hunter, everyone would be on their side and their name would be remembered. He tries to stop the tears in his eyes while stutteringly saying his name. Suddenly, someone shouts his name, shocking him. He sees Hisaki and his minions walking closer, with Hisaki telling him to come to the mausoleum of the founders after school. Kanagi asks why and wonders what is happening and what will happen after. But Hisaki just smiles and asks if he wants to take a re-examination, confusing Kanagi even more. Hisaki tells him that he will talk to the association. When Kanagi asks why Hisaki is doing this, Hisaki responds that it's a way to increase his popularity. And the last scene of the documentary is set at the mausoleum, so they need to film there and discuss it afterwards. Hisaki then warns him that he must come. Kanagi wonders if this is real but thinks that even though he hates the idea of being used by Hisaki to increase his popularity, it's another chance for him regardless of the situation. He smiles, swearing that this time, he will pass for sure. Later, in the mausoleum of the founders, the reporter captures footage of Hisaki saying, "At the mausoleum of the founders, a single top-class hunter pledges to protect humanity's future," and this moment is truly picture perfect. After that, the reporters tell Hisaki they managed to take a good picture and thank him for his time during his busy day. Hisaki replies that he looks forward to the article. Once the reporters leave, Hisaki moves further into the mausoleum. When he arrives where his minions are waiting, he asks if they have found the entry point. His minions excitedly reply that they have and point to a secret pathway, asking if it is the one they were looking for. Suddenly, someone asks from behind what they are doing. Hisaki nonchalantly asks if he hasn't figured it out yet, and tells him it's a treasure hunt. Kanagi angrily shouts at Hisaki, calling him a grave bandit and asking if he even understands who is resting in that place. Hisaki responds that of course he knows, but then he kicks one of the founder's statues and asks if he's right that it's only the rotten bodies of the past. He explains that they couldn't let the chance slip away to become millionaires and dismisses the importance of the founders' remains, saying they are just dead bodies and don't matter. Kanagi acknowledges that the founders were amazing, which is why he wants to be like them. Unawakened, whose name is marked in history, enraged, Kanagi rushes to attack Hisaki, calling him a bastard. However, Hisaki sidesteps swiftly and punches him hard in the stomach, making him cough up blood. He collapses to the ground, clutching his stomach in pain, while Hisaki berates him for daring to attack. Hisaki continues to assault him, making him think he might die, but then one of Hisaki's minions calls out, saying they found something and shows a lot of valuable items, which shocks him. Hisaki grabs a crystal and excitedly asks if the aura is emitting from the item itself. Hisaki shouts that it's wonderful and that with it, he could live without needing to work for the rest of his life. Kanagi tries to stop them, shouting not to touch it, but his voice fails to come out. Hisaki then grabs him by the shirt and says he'll explain it as simply as possible so a failure like him can understand. Hisaki reveals that he had been looking for a weakling like him all along, having tricked him with the promise of a re-examination. He knew about Kanagi visiting the library all the time, and found it amusing. Finally, Hisaki declares he has found a useful pawn. Hisaki then drags him outside, smilingly shouting that he dreamed of becoming a hunter. So he finally decided to steal the treasures of the mausoleum and go missing, which is a tragic story. Kanagi stutteringly tells Hisaki to stop the bullshit, but Hisaki continues, saying it will be tomorrow's top news. Hisaki then lifts him over a cliff, telling him that after robbing the mausoleum of the founders and escaping from the police, the culprit will be a third-year hunter from the training academy. Hisaki then lets go of him and mockingly asks for his name again. Kanagi looks at Hisaki in anger and fear, but Hisaki tells him that knowing his name doesn't matter now and says goodbye. Kanagi falls into the river, wondering if this is how he will die after all the training and tests. He thinks everything was meaningless because he is fading away without being remembered by anyone. Suddenly, lights appear around him and many figures surround him. He hears them saying that he will be their vessel and grant their wish. The figures introduce themselves as the heroic spirits sealed in that place, the very souls of the founders. Shocked, he wonders what this means, hearing voices and seeing lights from the founders. One of the founders tells him that the crest on his hand is the crest of nothingness. It doesn't possess any power by itself, but it can manifest any power he could have never imagined. The voice tells him to choose one of them and form a contract, because they are the pinnacle of every art. Magic, endurance, swordsmanship, spearmanship, summoning magic, alchemy, and more. Whoever he chooses, he will gain power from that benefactor. The voice asks him whose power he seeks. He initially thinks of wanting power like Hazaki's, but changes his mind. He responds that he wants a power incomparable in the world, a power to overwhelm everything and wipe away all the humiliations he endured. Another voice then tells him to decide whom he chooses. Kannagi replies that he wants everything and all of their powers, they should give him everything. The founders consider him greedy, thinking it's impossible, as no matter how strong the vessel is, taking everything would be a mess. But Kannagi absorbs them all, shouting at them to shut up, and instead of yapping their mouths, to enter him. Kannagi pushes himself to absorb all the heroic spirits, causing mixed reactions among the founders. Some panic, some are amazed, others don't care, and some wonder who he is. Eventually, he absorbs all of them. From atop the hill, Hisaki looks back when he sees a light emerging from the river. Suddenly, the river rises as if something exploded beneath it, making everyone turn and wonder what is happening. Kannagi then flies out of the river, landing on the hill in front of Hisaki and his minions with different hair and eye colors. One of Hisaki's minions sneers, saying Kannagi crawl back like a tenacious roach. Kannagi breaks a small branch off a long branch and swings it at Hisaki's minions, who are shocked and ask what the hell he is doing. Hisaki's minions then teasingly laugh at him, asking if he really intends to fight them with a stick. Kannagi continues to swing his stick, prompting Hisaki to sigh and tell his minions to end it, ensuring Kannagi doesn't crawl back again. Hisaki orders his minions to cut Kannagi's head off. One of the minions grabs his sword and arrogantly replies to Hisaki that he understands. He taunts Kannagi, saying that based on the recent exam, his sword aura is a rank and he has mastered the way of the swordsman. He tells Kannagi to be grateful to be cut down by him. Kannagi simply responds, mastering the way of the swordsman. The man then jumps towards Kannagi, slashing at him with his sword. Smiling, the man stops behind him, but then blood begins to pour from all over his body and head as if he had been slashed. The man screams in pain, while Hisaki and the other minion look on in shock, unable to believe what they are seeing. Kannagi then tells the man that he has mastered the way of the swordsman and asks him what kind of swordsmanship he uses. The other minion casts a spell, calling upon the green cradle and the gaze of destruction. Kannagi points his finger at the minion and tells him that he is slow. He then attacks the minion with a spell, Thunderbolt Hadet, without any incantation. The minion cannot believe it, and a powerful thunderbolt strikes him, electrocuting him to death. Hisaki cannot believe that Kannagi cut down his minion with nothing but a mere branch and cast magic without any incantation. Hisaki recalls the legend of a great swordsman who, long ago, cut down a 10,000-strong army with only a single wooden stick, and a wizard who could chant any magic without incantation. In the current era, these stories are considered mere legends or fairy tales. Now, the souls of the Awakeners that slumbered in the mausoleum of the founders dwell within Kannagi Minato. There are 106 souls inside his body. Kannagi remembers Hisaki telling everyone that he would mark his name in history as an awakened. He walks closer to Hisaki, declaring that his name shall not be forgotten, and that he shall be remembered eternally, including the new myth about him. End of part 1. The title of this series will be in the comment section below. Please consider liking and subscribing. See you on the next video. Thanks for watching.